For nearly 2 centuries, the Roman Empire ruled in peace. Roads were safe, trade was constant, and Roman banners flew across 3 continents. It was called the Pax Romana, the Roman peace. But beneath this calm surface, the foundations of Rome were quietly beginning to crack. After generations of war, assassination, and civil conflict, Rome finally found stability under Emperor Augustus. The Republic was gone, but in its place stood an empire that promised order, security, and prosperity. The world had never seen anything like it. A single government now ruled from the Atlantic Ocean to the deserts of the Middle East, and from the mountains of Britain to the sands of North Africa. Cities flourished across the empire. Stone roads stretched over 250,000 miles, connecting towns, forts, and trading hubs into one vast network. Merchants carried grain from Egypt, wine from Gaul, spices from the East, and silver from Spain. Roman coins became the universal currency of the ancient world, and markets bustled with goods from every known land. The capital itself became a symbol of imperial power. The Colosseum hosted massive spectacles, while temples, forums, and bathhouses filled the city with activity from dawn until dusk. Aqueducts carried fresh water across valleys and hills. Public baths, libraries, and theaters gave ordinary people access to a level of comfort no society had ever offered before. Rome was no longer just a city, it was a civilization. But when an empire reaches its peak, it often begins to forget what made it strong. The Roman army was the backbone of this golden age. More than 300,000 soldiers were stationed across the empire, guarding borders, crushing rebellions, and enforcing Roman law. These legions were professional, well-trained, and fiercely disciplined. They built forts, protected trade routes, and stood ready to respond to threats from any direction. But this massive force came at an enormous cost. Paying, feeding, and equipping such a huge army drained the empire's treasury. As long as Rome kept conquering new lands, the army paid for itself through plunder and new taxes. But during the Pax Romana, the empire stopped expanding, and when Rome stopped growing, it began to feed on itself. Without new conquests, Rome needed money in other ways. Taxes increased, and local populations were forced to give more of their income to support the imperial machine. Small farmers struggled. Wealthy elites grew richer, while ordinary people sank deeper into poverty. Slavery became the foundation of the Roman economy. Millions of enslaved people worked farms, mines, and workshops, taking jobs away from free citizens and lowering wages across the empire. As inequality widened, loyalty faded. People no longer felt pride in Rome. They simply tried to survive under it. And when citizens stop believing in an empire, corruption moves in. Provincial governors ruled distant territories with almost complete power. Many saw their positions as opportunities to become rich rather than serve Rome. Taxes were collected brutally. Local populations were exploited, while only a portion of the money ever reached the capital. In Rome itself, political life became a battlefield. Senators plotted, officials accepted bribes, and influence was sold to the highest bidder. The empire still functioned, but it no longer operated with honor. Power was no longer something that was earned. It was something that was taken. The army, once loyal to the state, now held the real power. Emperors depended on military support to rule, and soldiers knew it. If an emperor displeased the legions, he could be removed. If a general promised more pay, he could be made emperor. This turned leadership into a dangerous game. Rulers were assassinated, replaced, and forgotten at a terrifying speed. Stability gave way to fear, and fear eroded the foundations of Roman authority. While Rome weakened within, danger was rising beyond its borders. Rome's borders stretched across vast lands, from the forests of Germany to the deserts of Syria. Legions struggled to hold the line. Tribes along these frontiers grew stronger. They learned Roman tactics, bought Roman weapons, and watched carefully for weakness. As the empire struggled to pay its troops, border defenses weakened, forts were abandoned, patrols reduced, and once secure regions became vulnerable. Rome still looked powerful, but its shield was cracking. In earlier centuries, being Roman meant something. It meant citizenship, law, and belonging to a powerful community. By the time of the Pax Romana's end, citizenship was handed out freely. It lost its meaning. People identified more with their local towns than with the distant empire. Rome became an abstract authority rather than a shared homeland. Without unity, empires grow fragile, and Rome was beginning to feel that fragility. The Golden Age was fading, even though the world could not yet see it. After the reigns of strong emperors like Trajan and Hadrian, leadership declined. Weaker rulers failed to control corruption, inflation, and military unrest. Civil wars became frequent. Each conflict drained the empire of soldiers, money, and stability. The Pax Romana slowly came to an end. The age of peace was replaced by uncertainty, rebellion, and fear. Rome had not fallen yet, but it was no longer unbreakable. The Roman Empire reached its greatest height during the Pax Romana, but that very peace removed the pressure that had once kept Rome strong. Without conquest, discipline faded. Without unity, corruption grew. Rome still ruled the world, but the world was beginning to slip from its grasp. In the next episode, we will watch the Roman Empire face invasion, chaos, and division, and discover how the greatest power in history was slowly brought to its knees.